Hello and welcome back to Passion in Poetry podcast. Today we are joined by a special guest, renowned Australian poet Kenneth Slessor. I brought you in today to talk about two of your poems, Gulliver and Out of Time. Now Gulliver is a poem that appears to describe some sort of hardship, quite obviously a reference and extended metaphor of Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels. What would you say your target audience is for these two poems? The target audience ranges from young adults to seniority, I would say. Anyone that can understand literary techniques and decipher the meaning behind the poems. Great, now I would love to discuss the human experience in the poem. Would you care to enlighten the audience on how your poems invite the reader to reconsider their assumptions about the world? Sure. Gulliver is written as a free verse poem. This helps to transform the mood into a defiant, unhinged rant. I use various techniques such as imagery and paradox to illustrate the idea of a life promised with freedom, but burdened by constant emotional incarceration. This is represented by the sinews seen in line 4. These sinews humanize the idea of an unbreakable bond and additionally form a metaphor, a technique common to many of my poems. The use of a hyperbole in line 5 is to make reference to the constraints placed on the original Gulliver by the Lilliputians from Jonathan Swift's novel, and are also symbolic of the many complications that humans face throughout their life. The poem invites the reader to relate and perhaps to understand that all people face their own sinews and oppression and challenges common to all people. That's great, thank you. Now how would you say your poems represent personal and public worlds and recognize how they are valued? Out of Time and Gulliver are particularly cohesive in this topic as they both provide issues faced by public and personal worlds. Love, hunger, drunkenness, neuralgia, debt, and aging are different sinews that affect every person at one point in their lives. In addition, Out of Time describes the human experience of time as an inevitable and constant natural construct. Time transcends the now and here, and there is importance in tomorrow and insignificance in yesterday. Both of these examples are particularly relevant to public and personal worlds, as they describe human experience faced by not a particular type of person, but rather any person and at any point in time. And if you were going to name any author or artist as a related text, what would it be and why? My poems have undeniable intertextual relevance to Jean-Jacques Rousseau's The Social Contract. He states man is born free and everywhere he is in chains. I see that man is born free but is binded by time or lack thereof, as seen in Out of Time, or imprisoned by the chains of oppression and hardship, as seen in Gulliver. You can be born a free man but still struggle under the chains of your own mind. Now, line 3 of Gulliver provides a paradox. Do me the honor of a dungeon. I believe the paradox here is freedom of self versus pain and discomfort. This is Gulliver saying that he would feel more comfortable locked in the walls of a dungeon than to struggle under the remorseless burden that is brought by the sinews. That's right, and this is emphasized in the last line of the poem. For God's sake, call the hangman. This actually forces the poem to have resemblance to a suicide note or last hurrah. I wrote this to signify Gulliver's realization in the futility of life. Too true. Well, it looks like we're out of time. Thank you for your insights, and we'll see you in the next one.